Well, a local cemetery is catching the eye of many residents. They say it is not carefully being cared for. The Westview Cemetery is more than 100 years old. It is the final resting place for hundreds of Augustans. News Channel 6's Chris Guardaro is in the newsroom now with more on the cemetery that many say is simply run down.
Mary, many of the graves at Westview Cemetery are supposed to be under perpetual care, but with no funds from the city and no family members to attend to them, they're just left to decay.
The Westview Cemetery is a grim sight for some with relatives buried there.
I buried my dad 9 years ago and buried my mother a year ago, and it's always, the grass is always 2 to 3 feet tall. The place is in disarray. There's no respect for the deceased at all.
Ben Newman has 5 relatives buried at Westview. He says the cemetery is not taken care of properly, with broken headstones and borders and overgrown plots.
Westview is one of those cemeteries that has a tremendous amount of sandlots and copings and edgings, so it's not like it's an area where you can easily mow. It requires a lot of string trimming and just general maintenance like spraying of weeds.
Westview was built in 1900 to provide a burial place for the old mill workers and their families. Now many of those former workers have graves that are supposed to be taken care of regularly, but are still falling into disrepair.
There's always ways that you can be more efficient in what you do, and we'll continue to, to raise that standard however possible, but at some point you reach that plateau of, if you want to make it better, either more funding, more people have to be made available.
The city has no funding for maintaining these old plots and turned to inmate crews that periodically work the property.
Whether it's more funding or more staffing, but just the fact that we've got to do a good job. Our taxpayers expect good care, and we should be giving that to them.
The last respect that you can have is for the dead. And if you don't respect them, you can't respect nobody, because they have come and gone before us